Hi, and congratulations on the purchase of your brand new Highline fully electric Caravan. My name's Jared from NCE. We're the supplier of the DCX system, which is actually powering this lovely Caravan here. And today I'm going to run through a couple of pointers with you as a little bit of a handover video on how to turn the system on, turn it off, do a state of charge calibration if needed, and obviously run through some of the great appliances Highline has fitted in here. So first thing I'm going to go through at the moment is basically your on-off switch for turning your 12 volt on and your 240 on or off. So up at our entry door up here, which we'll get a shot of in a second, we have two white switches. One of them is a 12 volt switch and one's a 240 volt switch for the inverter. So obviously when you're not using the Caravan, we flick the 12 volt supply off as you've just seen, and we've just killed power to the Caravan. Now I'm going to turn that back on so we have some nice lights in here. And then we also have an inverter switch up here. So we recommend that when you're not using 240 volt power, you switch the inverter off. Which is, you know, I've just turned it off then, and as you can see, it hasn't made a difference to the Caravan. So obviously when you want to start using your appliances, such as obviously your fridge or your induction cooktop or convection microwave, hot water, then at that point we will turn our inverter switch on, and now the van is operational for you. So that's basically your everyday running of the Caravan. If you are going to put your van into storage and leave it for long term and things like that, in this particular van our unit is installed under the lounge here, and I'll basically run through a couple of steps there on just how to shut it down to put it into storage mode. If you're putting it into long-term storage, we do recommend to drain your battery down to about 50% capacity, and at that point you can put it into storage, and this will last you 36 months without needing to be touched. If you're just putting it away for a week and you're heading away again next weekend, then just leave everything turned on, and as long as you're parked out in the sun and the solar is beaming, you'll obviously be getting charged while that's happening. Alright, so now we're just going to move our table, and I'll get underneath here and I'll show you where the system is, and we'll go through a little bit of a shutdown procedure down here. Okay, so under the lounge here, if we open up the cupboard doors, you'll see inside here we have our DCX inverter system installed here. So the battery on this system is actually underneath in the chassis, which helps with lower center of gravity, also complies with all the new electrical standards that are coming out very soon. So your van is fully compliant for the new standards, which is being released in November. So on this side over here we have some circuit breakers. So when we shut the system down, all we want to do is we want to make sure all the loads are turned off in the Caravan. So turn your inverter off up the top entry door, which I'm just going to do quickly now. So now my inverter is off. Now we come down here, and when I do a shutdown, I want to start from the right and work my way across to the left. So as a shutdown, I have a PV solar array here, which I am going to turn off. Then I'm also going to turn off my inverter supply, and I'm going to turn off my main supply, and we have a big red switch on the top up here. So when I turn the big red switch off, it actually disconnects completely the battery from the internals part of the system. So very easy obviously to do. Now basically to start it back up again, all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my big red switch on. There is a little silver button next to it which I'm going to push, and I'm going to hold for 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bang. And as you can see, we now have lights back on in the Caravan, so we're fired up. So now at this point, I'm going to turn all my circuit breakers back on. So I'm going to start from the left and work my way across to the right. So I'm going to turn my grid supply on, I'm going to turn my inverter on, and then I'm going to turn the PV array on very last. In the middle here, we have what we call a bypass switch. So if something did go wrong internally in the system and for some reason the inverter wasn't working, if I am plugged into mains power, I can flick this switch all the way to the very up position to get 240 volt power into the Caravan. This though is always going to live most of the time in the very down position, because now we're working on mains and inverter. So pretty much that's a very quick rundown of the actual system there on how to turn it on and how to shut it down. The only other thing that we kind of want done periodically is called a state of charge calibration, which is basically just aligning the battery with our little gauge up in the top cupboard, which I'll show you in a second. And very easy way to do that. So all we want to do is just discharge the complete system down to complete flat and then charge it back up again, and that's just done a state of charge calibration. So to basically to flatten it, all we want to do is we want to turn our PV array off. We also want our mains off, so we want no power coming into the van whatsoever, and then we just use it as per normal, and basically until it goes into low voltage shutdown. Once it's gone into shutdown, then you can plug it into 240. We'll turn our breaker back on for our main supply, and we'll turn our breaker back on for the solar, and we now have obviously charge coming into the van, and we just let it go and we let it charge right up to 100% full, and you're good to go. So I do recommend, if you are going away on a trip and you're getting your van packed, basically obviously have it on charge, get it fully charged before you go away, and as long as that sun is beaming, you can basically run as long as you want. So that's basically the heart of the system. Now we'll go up to our little control panel, and I'll give you a bit of a look on what's going on our display panel, which is around the corner here. I might just take the cover off it for this purpose. So let's take the tape off it. So up here we have our control panel, our screen of what's going on in the system. So as you can see here at the moment, we have been doing a discharge on this van. So at the moment we're at 37% state of charge. Our battery voltage is at 50 volts, and we have 1.6 amps coming into our battery. So when we are charging, the arrow will be pointing down towards the battery, and when we're discharging, that arrow will turn around and face up, and we'll obviously be drawing power from the battery. So this particular van here has 5 400-watt solar panels on the roof, and it's a very poor day in Melbourne at the moment. We're very overcast, it's been raining, and we still have 1.7 amps obviously going into our battery. So that 1.6 amps is at 48 volt world. So if you want to get equivalent of that in 12 volt, you basically times this by 4, and that's how much power you'd be getting in a standard 12 volt Caravan system. So to have 1.5 amps coming into our battery on a very poor day with rain and very overcast is still very good. So on this screen as well, I can click on here. This little screen here would bring up some error codes if anything is going wrong, and 9 times out of 10 it's only going to be low voltage or something like that. If there is a fault with the system, you can always contact us and we can walk you through it and tell you exactly what's going on there. There's some other information on this system which shows obviously the temperature of all the cells inside our battery. It also shows us the individual cells inside the battery, what the voltages are. Shows us our max volt per cell, also shows us our minimum volt per cell, and what I'm looking at there at the moment is very good. So Highline has done a great job on these vans, and there's a lot of technology that's gone into it, a lot of hard work, and their electricians have done a great job on it. So if you would like any more information on this Caravan, please visit highline.com.au and check out their full range. And if you want more information on the DCX system, then you can visit nce.com.au and check everything out. Thank you.